Thanks for making us number one.
The Lakeshore's finest mix of music. Mom FM.
102.7 WMOM, Pentwater, Ludington, Bitely, and all of West Michigan. It's 8 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to Leading West Michigan, a show about success and featuring local leaders and people in local business. And now here's your host, Ryan Howe.
Good morning, West Michigan. We have a great show for you today. I'm Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach who helps organizations grow. I help companies like Matthew Six Construction, Larson's Landscaping, Safe Harbor Credit Union, and Lake Michigan Senior Living with every aspect of their company. Why wait? Start your business transformation today. Follow Summit Business Guides on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Connect with me on LinkedIn and learn more at summitbusinessguides.com. Now, this show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey, and joining us today is Lena Bluestein. Again, from the executive director for Blue Hat Ministries. It's good to have you on here today.
Thanks.
I'm going to be fighting Bluestein all day, just to understand.
You got it perfect.
Yeah, I know. I've known so many Steens. It's hard to go back to a Stein. So with that, for folks that don't know, what does Blue Hat Ministry do?
So we come into play when the court and community mental health and those kind of places come across individuals that need a public guardian, someone to help them with finances, medical decisions, but in like a more permanent position as a guardian or conservator. Normally, ideally, this would be a family member or a close friend that would play this role, but so we come into play when there's no family that can serve, and so then the court brings us in on yeah.
Okay. All right. No worries. And we'll get into more of that later. Okay. Again, some of the specifics and those areas there. So, again, the work that you do is so appreciated, and again, it's an underserved community, which I know you're going to speak to at length here, and it takes a certain character, a certain drive, a certain individual to be able to raise their hand and say, hey, this is something I have a passion for and I want to do. Mm-hmm. So to help folks learn a little bit more about you, so where are you from originally?
I was actually born overseas, born in Norway. My dad's Norwegian, my mom's American. So moved to America when I was 4 and came to the Michigan area. Didn't come up to Ludington till high school. Okay. My brother was a senior. I was a sophomore. We thought our lives were over moving from Detroit area to Ludington. And we came and spent a summer before we started school. Sure. By the time school started, people had asked where we're from, and we're like, Ludington.
There you go.
This is it.
So you mentioned that again. You got dad's Norway, right? And your mom American. What work or what was over there that?
Just a crazy love story, actually. My dad was like mad at his father, so ran from Norway down to. They both met on a train. My mom was traveling with her sister. Okay. My dad was just kind of traveling around. They were on a train to Paris, and my mom and her sister were being kind of bothered by some guys, and they said to this nice-looking man, hey, if these guys ask us to go around Paris, can we say we're with you? And he was like, sure, and they did, so they walked off the train together, and
from there it went.
From there, 4 kids and 30 years marriage.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great story. That's so great. So what sort of work did your dad do?
So my dad ended up being kind of the American dream, because they spent the first 7 years of their marriage in Norway, and then with their first 3 kids came over, sold the dairy farm and came to America kind of on accident. They were going to go to Iceland and be fishermen and stuff like that, and that fell through, so they had no choice but to come to America. They both had like 4 or 5 jobs starting off their time here, and then my dad was a truck driver and all these things, and once he hurt his back, he had enough time to get his bachelor's degree, then moved on to his master's degree, and then once he became Microsoft certified and those kind of things, Then he really hit it off with some great work, and that's American
awesome.
dream, kind of.
Yeah. Again, it's that just got to make it work. You never know where your path is going to take you. I think that's great to see. And then with your mom?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom with us, except for, working on the side and stuff. And then when we were here in Ludington, she eventually bought the inn at Ludington, and that was her passion for many years. And,
that's great.
Me and my sister actually run that now as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So with that, where in Detroit did you guys land at?
Northville, Novi.
Northville, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I have like second cousins down in Northville. I remember that. So, Mom, I know you're listening. We need to talk about that later just to clarify. So, okay. I know that area. It's real nice. Nice little area.
Super nice, yeah.
So, when you got up here, though, you said, okay, came up for summer, and then you were a sophomore.
Yep.
And so you mentioned your life was over.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we went from, hanging out with friends at the mall every weekend and stuff to coming up here where there was, at that time, I think the Kmart and the Walmart, maybe not even the Walmart yet. I can't remember. And so, but then we met friends right away at our youth group, and those friends are my lifelong friends still to this day, and got real. To me, it was like, oh my gosh, you've got a state park. You've got, you go camping. You can do all this outdoor stuff, the beach, of course. And so we just embraced that, and I never looked back.
Oh, that's great. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Lena Bluestein, the Executive Director for Blue Hat Ministries. Again, I'm Ryan Howe. This is Leading West Michigan, and the show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey. And again, she made her way up here for high school. So what was that also? That must have been not just hanging out with folks here. Well, going to school must have been a little bit of a transition as well, too.
A little different. Yeah. We had just built that new school in Northville that's humongous. Came here, and it was much smaller, and I'd never seen anyone come to school with cowboy boots on. So there was that transition, and but I loved it. And I loved at that time, my school work was kind of focused around Spanish, and that was, since I couldn't focus on Norwegian, I've always loved languages, so I decided to focus all in on Spanish, and I did 4 years of that in high school, and yeah. So
with that, and so over in that area, that was your passion, math and other stuff in the other area, sciences? Yeah, actually, and I'm a big advocate for that. If you learn languages, math and sciences will come easier to you. And so I was a good student. I like school, but yeah, I had a lot of friends more in churches, youth groups, and stuff like that. No, I get that. That's actually something I've mentioned to a lot of, again, if my kids are listening, they'll know this. Math is just a different language.
Yes.
It's all if you can work on just coming from that way, that angle, makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I always say if I wanted to make more money in my life, I would have done what my dad did and learn computer languages. Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so with that, you say you focus on Spanish. So what was your reason behind Spanish? Just saying, were you planning on being a teacher, professor? What was it? I just love people. I love when you learn a language, then you can connect with people. So we had spent some time back in Norway when I was in 8th grade and got my Norwegian back up and going. And so 9th grade, I came back to the States and wanted to work on Spanish. And so I took a couple different mission trips during high school that really changed my life. I went to Peru for a month. I went to Mexico City a couple times and worked with, some of the poorest of the poor. And that really made it hard for me, even though I could have had some scholarships to college and stuff to think about the whole academic world, because I wanted to figure out how I could help people. Okay. And I always say I was a little wrecked too by youth group things back in the 90s were so you can change the world. And so I was like, how am I going to change the world? So I went off to Bible college after high school, and that was amazing down in Oklahoma. I met my husband there. He's from Washington State. So from Michigan to Washington, met in Oklahoma. And so I was married by 20, first kid by 21, and second kid by 22. And so a little different career path than most people. Well, that's, so I have a few things I want to unpack, but that's also me. I was married at 20, and we had my first there shortly thereafter, our second stepdaughter than her, but okay. So Bible college, what was the name of the college, and where was it at?
Rhema, it's a small school down in Oklahoma. So ended up down there with a focus on world missions, did a 2-year certificate, but I also was taking classes at the community college, and I didn't actually come back to complete my bachelor's degree until I was almost 30. Okay. So I'll get to that later.
Okay. So and you met, and what part of Washington was the husband from? He's from just north of Portland, Oregon. So right around
Vancouver.
Bend. Yep. Gotcha. So, I was saying, we were talking earlier, I was in Spokane for a few years, so I got to know that a real pretty area all around there. Yeah, it's really gorgeous. Oklahoma, though, not what I would call pretty. No, super boring. We lived there for 3 years total, and I've actually never gone back to visit, so I feel bad. But I would say when I met my husband and met his family, I thought for sure we were going to move to Washington, and it was actually him that said, I feel like we're supposed to go to Ludington. So that was so surprising to me, but this is where my family was, and so I was sure lucky that having 2 small kids, we could come back to Ludington, and so we just made it home, and okay. So again, we're continuing our conversation with Lena Bluestein, the executive director for Blue Hat Ministries. Just finished up a little circuit around the country there to get on back here to Ludington. So after being gone for a while though, and then coming back, what was that like? This is your second time, basically. The first time was moving up here. Now you're actually returning.
Right.
What was that feeling like coming back here?
It was wonderful. We moved away one other time. We spent a year and a half in Toledo with my career with Verizon and Alltel. And both times moving back has always just been like the friends and family that we have here, you just pick right up where you left off. And it's really not like that in other places. I feel like other places you take a year and a half to finally meet some friends. And I remember coming back into actually our church and seeing someone I hadn't seen for 2 years and just the hug and the embrace. So I love Ludington. I love the people here. I've been really blessed to get to,
and that's my thing too, where, I've had a lot of folks on the program here, those that were here, left and boomerang back like me. I was gone for 25 years before I came back, and those have been stayed here throughout. And it's always interesting to me that that's the exact feeling that folks have when they get here. Like, everyone's willing to say, hey, we'll give you a try, come on in. But if you have left and you come back like, oh, hey, how was it? And but there isn't like a sense of that, especially here, folks, that they missed out by leaving either. It's
no. And now I've been here long enough that I'm more on the other side, that I see people be young or whatever and feel like they have to leave Ludington at some point, and I'm like, why we've got everything here, I feel like.
Well, I mean, once we get to a certain age, yes, we have everything here, but when you're younger, there's a few more bright and shiny
adventures
things. Which makes sense. My daughter, she's in Portland, Maine right now.
Okay.
And she's like, all my friends are in the city. Everything I like to do is in the city. And I'm like, I completely get it.
Yeah.
Do your thing, girl.
Yeah.
Then when you're in your 30s, we can talk.
Exactly.
That's how, so you come back here. So you landed back here. What did it look like coming back here for work, or what was that? Yeah,
no, not for work, just for family and a home. And I actually, like I said, moved away with a career that I had with Verizon Alltel. I was very successful in that, so much so that they gave me my own store down in Ohio, and I was being groomed for regional management and those kind of things. But this was during 2006, 2007, so I did move back kind of to take care of our house that didn't sell during that.
So how did the again, the work with Verizon, how'd that come about?
I remember interviewing with the local Alltel here when it was Alltel, and I had an 8-month-old baby at home, and they were like, can you work 40 hours? And I was like, yeah, I think I can work 40 hours. And they had no staff. So I was immediately in at 60, 70 hours, right away. And then I was pregnant with my second one and worked straight through that pregnancy. And I love working. I loved I was able to look at sales like connections with people. So I was pretty good at sales because every person that came in, I could find a way to connect with them and find a way to turn that into a sale. When I was a store manager in Toledo, my best story is that my team came to me being like, you've got to come out here. This person's impossible. Nothing we can do to help him. And I get out there and connect with him, find out that he's the owner of my favorite Indian food restaurant.
Oh, there you go.
And by the end of it, I had fixed his problem, and I hopped in his car because he told me he was going to buy me lunch.
Oh, there you go.
And my staff thought I was being kidnapped, and it was hilarious. So,
well, again, though, I think that's more to your character than anything. Again, you said from a very, very early age or whatever, the connections were really important, but that call to serve that you had.
Yeah.
So, one question I have before we move on here is that you mentioned as far as for missions, did you ever you said you went on a few missions, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, what was it, again, like going down to Peru versus Mexico City? Again, like what would be the main difference there you saw in Peru versus like Mexico City?
Well, in both scenarios, we went to, hard hit areas with poverty and stuff. So I knew that I always felt like I had a hard time connecting with Americans that, when I just knew the suffering that was in other areas. So I'll say when I was doing my work with Alltel and those things, I was also involved in my church and those things. And I got really connected with the idea that instead of trying to change the world, I would just love the person that's right in front of me. And so even while working and doing other things, that got me a lot of opportunities where I was just giving people rides and taking them to medical appointments because they needed it. And I've the more I saw how much the need was, and the more I was welcomed into their homes and saw some of the disarray and the potential for the borderline homelessness and those kind of things, then that's how community mental health, someone from there got a hold of me and said, you should become a guardian. And
Gotcha.
that led me there.
No worries. The reason I'm asking is because, I've had time to travel and I've seen those areas in poverty. It hits the same but different everywhere you go.
Right.
But with that poverty mindset, it does one of those things that you can see.
Yes.
And the impacts that I've seen for missionary work, again, the military, not, it's not all basically blowing stuff up. There's a lot of times it's humanitarian that we have across the board. And what I found was, and I just wonder if your experience was the same, that, it's all the same, same color, but a little bit different shade.
Yes.
But when you get in there and you actually have those one-on-one impacts with people, that's where I've seen like missionary or the volunteer work really shine. And so what was what kind of projects did you have like in Peru, I guess would be my question, versus Mexico City, or what did it?
Peru was, that's kind of the differences was based on the organizations I went with. So Peru was more just outreach and Christian outreach.
Sure.
And so the interactions were quick, and that was impactful, but in its own way. Mexico City was a little more like you would spend a whole day in one place, and this organization brings a doctor, a dentist, someone that brings a bunch of different eyeglasses, and we set up tents right on the edges of these cities that are like in the garbage dumps.
Yeah.
And so the first time I went, I got to just do the hair care and cutting people's hair and washing, doing their fingernails and having that connection. So you'd spend the whole day with them and the kids coming back and forth. The second trip I took, I was able to be the translator for the doctor. So that was pretty cool, because they would do like a surgery right on the spot if they could.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I really have kept my heart connected with that organization. But the crazy thing about guardianship is that you can have an impact in someone's life in such a day-to-day, year after year way. So as opposed to like seeing someone here and being like, I hope that we made an impact in one day, I'm connected with them in a way that it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but they know that they're supported and loved, and even like financially, like we might at first be dealing with a total disaster, but I've got ones that I've been working with 5-6 years, and we're setting them up to have their prepaid burial set up, to have a savings account that's allowable for people with disabilities, to have a good life. Oh,
and that's, so I can definitely see where that initial piece that, where you, I want to say fill your bucket a little bit, where you where you started to feel that one-on-one connection with folks. You were saying Mexico City was the bigger piece that you had there. Yeah. Were there any other spots besides those two that you went and didn't?
No, just, I don't think so.
Okay, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Again,
more
it's
like local missions.
And it's, no worries on that. But, the big thing here is like, I've seen that connection with so many people. And I'll just say this, in volunteering, just as not, again, different shade of very similar thing. Yeah. That for folks that haven't done it before, and it may seem overwhelming, it might seem like it's a lot, but once you start and you say, okay, I can do this thing. I've always been I always felt like I got more out of it than maybe the folks that I was helping per se.
Yeah.
And I always go back to like, there's that line from Scrooge where you do nice things and you get greedy for it. And you want to do more, you want to continue to give and volunteer more and more of your time.
Yeah. Actually, so I did spend a couple weeks in Africa this last fall. I was in Uganda on a really special trip. My dad passed away last year, and my youngest sister had arranged for some of the money to go towards putting a well in this area that she had visited before, so I get to go back with her, and that was, I feel greedy for how, lovely that was to be able to be part of giving a well to a city that was like, so blessed by it.
No, absolutely. And again, that's, Uganda, again, and also in that area, it's within Africa here. We'll be heading to our first break here in a second. People also that without understanding the differences in that entire continent, we go to Uganda and there's those areas. It's gorgeous. One of those spots here, it's like, wow, this actually exists on this continent. What else is out there for it? Right. But the people, again, I've had spent time around helping across board, some of the nicest folks on the planet. Yeah. They're there just to appreciate anybody coming to help. So oh, it's really good. All right, so with this, we're going to head into our first break. Okay. Again, and when we get back, let's talk a little bit. I do want to talk a little bit more about your time with Verizon Alltel, because there's some business interests there that I have, and I want to poke your brain on a little bit. So, again, you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into that first break, and we'll be back with Lena Bluestein afterwards.
What if I were to tell you that there's a free checking account out there that is offering an annual percentage yield of 5%? That if you invest $10,000, you can earn $500. If you invest $15,000, you can earn $750 by just letting your money work for you. Well, with Safe Harbor Credit Union, this is exactly what you can get. Not only do you get 5% APY, you also get a free mobile banking app so you can bank on the go, refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, no monthly maintenance fees, and access to thousands of shared branches in every state in the country so you could get in-person service wherever you are. Plus, everyone qualifies for these rewards in their first month. Go to safeharborcu.org or visit 5511 West US 10 Ludington. That's safeharborcu.org. Member, owner, neighbor. Here, you're one and the same. Safe Harbor is federally insured by the NCUA.
I got my dress at a bride's time.
I got my dress at a bride's time.
I always get my dresses at a bride's time.
Prom's fast approaching, and a bride's time of Ludington has got the perfect dress to make your prom night magical. Celebrating 34 years in downtown Ludington, a bride's time has over 1,000 brand new designer dresses in stock in sizes 000 to 30, with prices starting at just $34. A bride's time has every color of the rainbow in an array of styles to help perfect your prom night vision. Don't risk ruining your prom with an internet disaster. A bride's time has dresses that you can try on and take home today, or utilize the convenient layaway plan. When searching for your dream prom dress, go to A Bride's Time first. A Bride's Time also offers over 200 designer tuxedo styles from Kenneth Cole, Michael Kors, Ralph Lauren, and a host of others. Tuxes start at just $99 out the door. Now open daily, and private appointments are always welcome. A Bride's Time bridal and formal wear located in downtown Ludington. For hours or appointments, call 231-843-2624. That's 231-843-2624.
Life can throw unexpected challenges our way, and sometimes it's tough to navigate the storm. At West Michigan CMH, we understand the difficulty of experiencing a mental health crisis or witnessing a loved one going through it. You're not alone, and help is available. Our compassionate team is here to support you every step of the way. Call us 24/7, 365 at 1-800-992-2061. That's 1-800-992-2061.
It's another way to increase the awareness of your events and happenings. It's Mom's Fridge Magnets, presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Hi, this is Lori from West Michigan CMH. If you are a resident of Lake, Mason, or Oceana County and are ready to quit smoking, join our smoking cessation group. You can choose group sessions, one-on-one support, or convenient telehealth options. Your path to a smoke-free life starts now. Call 1-800-992-2061.
Cold and flu season is right around the corner. You want to make sure you and your family are covered from the unexpected. At McGee Insurance Group, we have dedicated agents that specialize in health benefits tailored for you and your workforce. We're open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and are located next to Pizza Hut on US 10 in Ludington. Our number is 231-845-5000. Contact us today. See what options are available for you.
Experience an informative evening at the Pentwater Preschool Enrollment Night. Taking place on April 10th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., this event is designed for parents of children turning 4 on or before December 1st. Learn about their free preschool program, which offers a full 5-day schedule aimed at providing a comprehensive early learning experience for young children. Discover more about their curriculum, classroom activities, and the benefits of enrolling your child in their 5-day program. For more details, email Amy at pentwaterpreschool.com. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program, thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back. Again, we're continuing our conversation with Lena Bluestein, the Executive Director for Blue Hat Ministries. And again, for the break, I wanted to shift back a little bit to your work with Alltel and Verizon and everything. And that's, again, you went in, they were obviously you said they were looking for, anybody. They couldn't find staff. And, you started working a huge amount of hours there. What was that like coming in? Obviously, for some, in your case, like what'd you learn in that type of environment? Because you did say you ended up getting offered other stores, so you must have figured something out. So
yeah, I've always worked. I've always loved to work. Even the stuff I used for that interview was from 3 years of working at a Texas Roadhouse as a waitress. So when they're asking me like, do you do any sales? I'm like, yeah, I do the nod sale with, you're going to want mushrooms and onions on that steak, right? Yeah. And, so those kind of things that I knew rudimentary wise. And my reading interests have always been more nonfiction, more like learning leadership skills and those kind of things. So I had that under my belt, and yeah, you know how it is when you're with a corporation. You learn some things under great management. You learn some things, even more things sometimes under poor management. Yeah. You go like, this is not how I would run my store. Nope. And so so we learned that as I watched, a lot of turnover and things like that and the things to not do. And then you just take any opportunity you can get. So if you want to move up in the corporate world, when they say, hey, we'll send you to Toledo you can help people train, because we had this transition from Alltel to Verizon, we were able to go and train in other stores that hadn't made transitions and stuff. And that was where I met the regional manager that wanted to take me on as a store manager, who really was pivotal in my career, like as far as giving me opportunities and trusting my intuition with how to lead a team. I feel like I had one of the happiest work crews as far as their needs being met, and training them and empowering them to do their best. And so that made me a good manager. And still now, as I'm forming a team and grabbing volunteers, I kind of pride myself in taking care of the people that work for me. Yeah,
that's it's interesting that you say that, because I deal with a lot of managers, obviously, and a lot of business leaders, what I do. And there's three things that, basically the organization managers are responsible for: is organize, train, and equip. Right. And if you focus on those three things, amazing things happen. Your team, they can come in, they know what to do, right? You've trained them properly, which again, you're doing. They've got all the stuff they need to do their job, right? And they're organized, just say, okay, we're going to go do our job. Come in and they're happy. Yeah. I know, I think, and what it sounds like is you got rid of the, I want to say, gray area in their work. They knew what they needed to do to perform. Yeah. Well,
I always say that I'm a very direct communicator. And so that's good, because you never have to wonder if I'm upset or something. Because if I was, I'd be like, hey, I'm upset. Like, hey, I don't like what you did. I want you to do it this way. No need to be upset, actually. So we can communicate and we can get that fixed. You never need to wonder if I'm holding on to something, because I just say it and we move forward. But yeah, so I learned a lot of that with Verizon, because it was so visual what we were seeing. Like, if I did the right thing in management, teaching them how to sell, then I could see it on our scorecard the next day, So I got really into that side of it too, and learning how to make Excel sheets and do things that could keep us focused on what the goals were. And I use that even now in how to stay focused to make sure that we're succeeding, but of course in different ways. But at that time, we brought our store to number 3 in the country and stayed there for 9 months, which is pretty rare.
And this is the one down in Ohio.
This is our store in Ohio. Yeah.
And that's amazing to be able to do that. Especially obviously the transit, but also in it was in Toledo. Which part of Ohio was it? Was it in
Toledo? Yep.
Okay, so for there to be again number 3 in the country, obviously, I will say this much though, that when you bring up metrics, that if you aren't measuring things, and this again, and you're in the nonprofit space here, which we'll talk about more in a little bit, you still got to measure everything.
Still got to measure.
Yeah, because make sure that you are utilizing those, those donations funds and everything.
Right. Have a board that I'm responsible to. Yep. Still need to put together professional presentations and convince people of the work that we're doing. So
So we're continuing our conversation with Lena Bluestein, the executive director for Blue Hat Ministries. So let's talk about, you mentioned it was CMH, right? You first them. How did that conversation even get broached? For like, hey, we think you might be a good person for this. What was the context around that entire conversation coming into being?
Yeah, I don't know. It was an individual who worked as like a community support to a lot of who are now my clients. She had worked in that industry for like 25 years. She retired soon after I came on board, but she all of my people that I was helping as a friend at that time, I guess, had been talking about me. So she just had in her mind that I would make a good guardian. And guardians, over the years don't have a good name because there's no funding to pay guardians. And so a lot of people that get into that role end up not answering phone calls and, not going to appointments with people and those
Sure.
kind of things that we're doing. So it's been a journey of coming into something that's kind of a mess and figuring out that, well, maybe I should leave this because I'm going to look like one of those bad guardians if
Sure.
I stay in this. But then realizing that if I pull out, then it's my clients, my guys that I love now that would suffer. So how to turn around like a whole industry, like how to make this something that people go, oh, that's awesome that they have a guardian instead of poor them, they have a guardian.
I know. So with this, again, just go back there for a second. So you mentioned you were helping out some folks. And
Yeah.
How did that even come about?
Yeah, that was, like I was saying earlier, just that I decided I was going to love the person in front of me. So I saw a need and I would just figure out how to do it. And it was very unknown. I didn't like make a big deal. We didn't have a program of it. I just did it. And then someone noticed.
And someone noticed
Yeah.
you out there. And it seems to me that you utilized a lot of the skills that you did when you, again, got in with Verizon Alltel.
Yeah.
Basically, you mentioned turning around in industries, what you're trying to do.
Right.
But I think it was very clear you first cut your teeth and found the way that these management practices actually work
Yeah.
in that space, and then said, if it worked once before,
Yeah.
and you learn the value of those metrics too, and also the communication skills with folks.
Right. So we decided on the name Blue Hat because Bluestein, but hat because we wear so many different hats. Yeah. So throughout a day, I have these, one-on-one where I'm talking with someone who has severe mental health issues, and I've, stayed at their house overnight with them if needed, and those kind of like interactions. And then on the other side of it, I turn into business mode because I'm advocating for them. So when I find out that their electric bill's been out of control or whatever, then I'm on the phone demanding to speak to the manager's manager because I know how these companies work and I know you're a salesman and I've managed you before. And so it kind of, all those skills come into play there as far as so that I can help them turn things around, things that normally they would have been like, I don't know how to do the paperwork. I don't know how to, get on the phone and talk to the right person. I do that on their behalf because I can speak on their behalf as guardian. So there's that. And then when we decided to become a nonprofit, a couple years ago, because I've been doing this about 7 years, 6-7 years. But 2 years ago, we became a nonprofit. And that was the turning point where I could now say to the community, help me in this, help me hire more people to do this with me. And then looking at it as a business and how to grow it and how to make it stable because, my biggest passion is that this keeps going.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And that's you can see that too, but that's where a lot of the business owners that I know, I work with, they have a similar thing, like, hey, they start doing something small with their friends, like, or folks that they know, hey, there might be something here. And then it's a matter of like, hey, there is something here. Right. Oh no, now what do we do? Right. And then when we get back, we're getting ready to head into our next break here. And when we come back, I want to dig down a little bit about that decision, because there's the thing between helping and volunteering your time that you were doing, and then really deciding to go all in and what that actual difference looked like for you and how you got to that decision. So you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into that next break. When we come back, I want to hear more about that transition and the decision to say, okay, I think this is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
This isn't just any basketball tournament. It's a community event that brings together people from all walks of life to celebrate our love for the game and our city. Volunteering at the Gus Macker is your opportunity to be part of something truly special. Whether you're a seasoned volunteer or looking to make your debut, your contribution will help create an unforgettable experience for players and fans alike. By joining our volunteer team, you'll play a crucial role in hosting a smooth and successful event. From assisting with setup and takedown to supporting the games and ensuring everyone has a great time, your efforts will be at the heart of the tournament's success. Plus, it's a fantastic way to meet new people, enjoy the outdoors, and soak in the electrifying atmosphere of the Gus Macker. Don't miss this chance to contribute to the 32nd year of the Ludington Gus Macker and the 50th year of Gus Macker history. We're looking for passionate individuals who are ready to bring their energy and smiles to Stearns Park, right along the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan. Or whether you're into sports, looking to get back to your community, or just want to be part of a fun and energetic team, we have a spot for you. Head over to ludingtonmacker.com to sign up as a volunteer and mark your calendars for June 15th and 16th. Whoa!
It's beginning to look a lot like you want a new wardrobe. Hi, it's Natalie from the Cedar Chest Consignment Shop, and we have your new style for spring waiting for you. We also want to thank you all for a wonderful 27 years in business. So we are giving you extra savings when you draw an egg from our Easter basket to save up to an additional 50% off your $20 or more purchase. You are the reason we have stayed strong and our reason to keep doing what we are doing here at the Cedar Chest. So shake off those winter blues and check out the Cedar Chest 27th anniversary sale going on now through Saturday, April 13th. Our March hours are Thursday through Saturday from 11 to 5. You can dress your best for less at the Cedar Chest in beautiful downtown Ludington.
Welcome to the ultimate flavor experience at El Rancho, where every bite is a reason to celebrate. The rich tradition of El Rancho's Rancho Bowl. Indulge your senses in the vibrant flavors of the Burrito Loco, or take your taste buds to new heights with the irresistibly delicious Super Rancho. Sundays become extra special with an incredible 30% off on house margaritas, the perfect way to elevate your week's end or start anew. Treat yourself to daily food and drink specials that promise a delightful dance for your taste buds. As you sip on the ultimate margarita, savor the complimentary chips and salsa, a true symphony of flavors that will leave you wanting more. Birthdays are transformed into unforgettable celebrations at El Rancho. Take a shot and brace yourself for the sweet surprise of free ice cream, all while the dedicated servers serenade you in celebration. Join El Rancho Sunday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and extend the fiesta into the night on Fridays and Saturdays from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. Indulge, rejoice, and let El Rancho add the perfect spice to your life. Located on the north side of US 10 in Ludington.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, so welcome back. And again, before the break, we had talked a little bit about the, that decision here with Lena Bluestein, the executive director for Blue Hat Ministries, about... okay, I've got a thing been doing, obviously you're there with the, like you mentioned, you're going to love the person in front of you. Mm-hmm. And there's a point though where you said, hey, hold on, there might be something here. What was that conversation like? I mean, that's going to be a family discussion, I'm sure. Sure. To like, hey, this could be a thing. Mm-hmm. What'd that look like, or how'd that come about?
Well, so I was already working way too many hours at that point and never home. So it wasn't so much like, oh, now I'm going to sacrifice more of my family's time. But it was the question of, do you want to spend time fundraising and doing those things that kind of like, you get a distaste for that. And but I decided that it was going to be worth it for the longevity of it, that I believe that Blue Hat Ministries is something that needs to stay permanently in our community and have multiple guardians that are doing the right thing and really connecting with these individuals and lifelong connections. Okay.
So with that, as you're building this out, so now it was you, mm-hmm. and now you're saying, okay, now we need to find some volunteers to help. What did that look like as far as, it's one thing folks come into, it's one of my favorite things too, is folks come into an organization and mm-hmm. The thought, man, I wonder how they got started, or who was your first volunteer, or how did they even get rolling with this? There's an entire history behind that I try to inspire as many organizations as they can to have that available. Right. So you learn. So what about you when you've had, who's, first volunteer, what'd that look like?
Yeah, so friends and family. I have to say, I guess the first volunteer is my husband, because we were fixing toilets in people's houses, and I'd have to look to him and be like, can you please help me fix their toilet or their floor or those things. So, but then I had a friend that was willing to work with me behind the scenes and do office work and stuff. Real quick, back to the management stuff. Yeah, sure. When you interview somebody, you want to have that moment where you go, oh, you're going to be even better than me in at least this area. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't have that connection, it's probably not a good hire. But when you're working with volunteers, you got to kind of take what you get. So then you kind of compartmentalize that, you could be good in this. And so and you could be good in this, and then you got to put it together a team, and it's a lot of scheduling. So about a year ago, that's where we were at, where we had, someone that would come 3 hours a week to do this, someone that would come 4 hours a week to do this. And so it's an important transition to go toward being able to hire someone in that's talented in multiple ways and able to handle things enough that you could literally step back and be like, oh, you've got this. You know?
And we talked a little bit about that earlier this week too, when we were, met up to chat for a bit. It was that little bit of a sea change in the nonprofit world over the last decade or so, decade and a half, about making that shift to understanding, like, when you're hiring in people, you want to be able to move beyond the volunteer pool to where it's people have a passion for it, which is great. Right. But we want to make sure we get the right skill set in here, because there's a risk that you have to make sure you're mitigating with that. Yeah.
And of course, we're doing things like handling people's social security numbers and all those kind of things. So I need talent, but also background in those social services kind of issues. And then how to keep good talent over the years. Now with this, now you're starting to get your volunteers in, you've got this. At what point did you make that decision, though, like, again, size-wise, that we need to just go nonprofit with this thing? So it was 2 years ago. It was kind of at more of a breaking point where I was just so overwhelmed. I get calls still to this day, at least twice a week, asking me to take on more people. And when I take on a new person, that's when it's at the worst, like Adult Protective Services is involved or whatever. And so that's a huge first 2 months or whatever with that person. So I really can't take on a new person every week. So I have to say no. And so it's not so much that I want to grow because, like, a business metric, it's that I want to be able to be there for these people that are in need. Sure, and I can't do that all by myself. So I want to be able to multiply myself and be there for people. But yeah, turning to nonprofit just seemed like the right way to go, because it's not a profitable business to take care of the poorest of the poor in our community. And so what I found is when I talk to people, they'd say, we want to be a part of this. How can we be a part of this? And they couldn't necessarily join me and work 24 hours a day with me, but they could give and they could support us in other ways. Okay, and that was actually going to be one of my next questions here. So you're making that transition out of the volunteer and, where sweat equity is your main driver at that point for you and your team, to now you're starting to do the asks. Right. What was that like on your first ask that you had to go? Terrible. Yeah. How so? What do you mean? I just don't like it, because I'd rather work for money. You know what I mean? Like, I've been a hard worker my whole life. I can prove to you I'm the best worker and that you should hire me, but to just be like, you should just give me money, that's a whole different story. But a lot of people that understand nonprofits have kind of given me that confidence that this is what donors are looking for, is somebody who's confidently doing a good work, and the money that they donate will be well cared for. And I feel like we were definitely providing that. So, for example, if one of our clients needed a new couch because they had bed bugs or something, we not only can provide them with a new couch, or we can find a resource that does, but we also are so connected that we're going to be in their apartment week after week, making sure that that couch doesn't get destroyed again by another round of bed bugs, because we're going to be looking for those things and helping them change that part of their poverty mentality that you talked about that got them in this situation in the first place. Oh yeah, no, that's good. Again, it's two things on there. One is, for businesses and nonprofits alike, they will grow to the size of the need. Yeah. Whatever the market's out there. And again, there's a market versus the need. Yeah. And the only thing typically stopping them is basically capital and organization. Right. Right. And so as you grow and there's more need out there, your hand's going to get forced at some point, which is where you got to, like, okay, I want to continue to meet this need, or at least try to. We're going to have to organize. Yeah. The other spot too is, definitely on the donor side of the house there, and it's about those first asks with people. I've worked with quite a few nonprofits, and those are some of my favorite stories. Like, what was the first ask? Like, I was shaking, I was so nervous, I was worried, and then they wrote me a check. Yeah, it's like they understand the assignment when you're there asking them. Like, they want to make sure that you're going to be, and this is the phrase that it was from United Ways in, I think, San Antonio, Texas. I was there, one of the director down there, and she said, when donors look to me, I need to prove and be able to demonstrate I'm going to be a good steward of their resources, of their goodwill, because they can't give physically with their time, but they're going to be able to fund it with this money to be able to show that. So exactly. No, I can see that. So all right, so now you made the swap over, and now you're into nonprofit world. What were some of the changes you put into place? Like, how did that help? Like, what was some of the immediacy or things you saw? So I could start hiring, and in my first hires, they were mostly part-timers. my sister actually works with me a lot because we're such a good team as far as that I love to make an Excel sheet and make a plan, and she loves to put the numbers in there every month. So she's very consistent behind the scenes. And so as I've been hiring people, she would tease me because then they'd go to her and fill out the paperwork, and she'd say, what did you guys agree on to pay? And they'd be like, oh, we didn't talk about that. She's like, how do you get people to work for you? You didn't even tell them how much you're going to pay them. And so it would happen like that. But so we started hiring some part-timers, and that's been a huge weight off my shoulders. Things that were like, I would work a crazy day, have somebody get a cancer diagnosis, and I right now have someone in jail, someone in a mental hospital, and then to be like 7 at night and be like, now I need to file my court paperwork and I need to balance all their checkbooks. Instead, now I have somebody that balances checkbooks. I have somebody that files the court paperwork. So like, at least after a long busy day, I can go home at 8.
Yeah, there you go.
Like my win.
Yeah, you get your win.
Yeah.
I never thought, to be honest, I never thought about, although it's in an accounting world, it's the same thing. It's like you would have somebody that would balance the checkbooks for your clients.
Right.
That's great. So, so with that, in the last 2 years here, were you able to, I guess, you have some events that you do, or is there something that you've been able to do now that you've got this, basically the nonprofit in place? Yeah, we've developed 2 annual fundraisers. So we have coming up on June 6th, our evening of fine dining. It is done very much like a wedding, so anybody that wants to come is welcome, but you have to ask me or send us a message, and then we send you an official invitation, and then you decide if you want meat or chicken for your thing. So it's not just a show up kind of event, but I do need a lot of volunteers for that. I need servers, I need people to help us with decorations, those kind of things. So the 2 times a year that I could really use volunteers are now for the evening of fine dining, so now between now and June, and then for our Harvest Festival that we do every fall, which is a really fun event that we do at our bed and breakfast in the backyard, games and things for the community, and my clients especially enjoy that event, and we just ask for people to come and donate and support us and see what we do. Oh, that's great. And again, that's as we head into our final break here, that's just one of those things. Once you get that organization piece in there, again, it does add a little bit of gravitas to when you're going out and doing those asks and things for folks too. So I definitely see the benefit with that for sure. So again, you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So we get in the final break and we get back and hear more about what's currently going on. A little bit, I want to touch back in on the evening of fine dining and then what the rest of the year looks like for you.
March welcomes the serene beauty of aquamarine at Victoria's Jewelry, reflecting the tranquility of the sea, symbolizing clarity, bravery, and peace. This March, honor Women's History Month by celebrating the influential women in your life with a gift of aquamarine jewelry. Explore our expanded engagement and wedding selections. From elegant engagement rings to exquisite necklaces, Victoria's jewelry collection spans various designs, complemented by our designer collections, Native American jewelry, and ancient Roman glass. Discover the unique estate case and beach glass jewelry, perfect for those seeking something truly special. Victoria's Jewelry buys and trades your old gold, ensuring you get value from your treasures. Plus, rely on Mike's 4 decades of expertise for all your jewelry repair needs. Visit the newly renovated store, featuring more lighting to showcase each piece's sparkle, multiple consultation stations for personalized service, and enhanced ambience to elevate your shopping experience. Vicky, Sophia, Kiara, and Ariana are eager to assist you in finding the perfect aquamarine piece. Dive into the beauty and meaning of aquamarine this March at Victoria's Jewelry, Michigan's diamond destination. Contact Victoria's Jewelry at 231-845-5257. Again, that's 231-845-5257.
Hey there, drivers. Did you know Lakeshore Automotive and Tire can do more than just keep your engine running? We're here to make sure your entire driving experience is top-notch. Lakeshore Automotive and Tire has the expertise and state-of-the-art equipment to make it happen. Our team boasts not one, not two, but 4 master mechanics ready to ensure your ride is in tip-top shape. That's right. Stop by today and experience the difference. Visit us on South James Street or call 231-425-3526. That's 231-425-3526. Drive confidently with Lakeshore Automotive Attire because you deserve the best on the road.
Looking for events and happenings in the area? Look no further than Mom's Fridge Magnets. Presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Hi, this is Lori from West Michigan CMH. Recovery is a journey of healing and transformation. For mental health challenges or substance use disorders, it's about living meaningfully and striving for your full potential. Start living your best life. Call us today at 1-800-992-2061.
With cooler weather creeping in, now is the ideal time to make sure your home is protected and to ensure you will have a roof over your head if the unthinkable occurs. At McGee Insurance Group, we can help you find the right policy to protect your home and possessions and understand what's covered if disaster strikes. We're open weekdays from 8 to 5 and are located next to Pizza Hut on US 10 in Ludington. Our number is 231-845-5000. Contact us today to see what options are available for you.
Join the Manistee Conservation District for a community seed sharing event on April 6th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Gardeners of all experience levels are encouraged to bring vegetable, herb, or flower seeds for sharing and swapping. No invasive species. Even if you don't have seeds to share, there will be free seeds available. Enjoy exchanging gardening tips, participating in a prize drawing, exploring informational materials, and engaging in nature crafts. Children can join a special storytime session at 11 a.m. This free event is open to the public and promises to inspire your 2024 garden. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back, and we're on to the final segment with Lena Bluestein, the Executive Director for Blue Hat Ministries.
Yep.
And, you know, this last bit here, I do want to go back and talk about that evening of fine dining, because you piqued my interest.
Okay.
I also have a redhead that's probably going to want to go to this thing, too.
Perfect.
So,
It's a good date night.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things, you had mentioned something, and this is previous, we talked to him for a second there, it was about the actual chef that you have. Who's this person that, and what's this look
the
like?
president of our board, Jonathan Smalley, he works over at Superior Exterior now, but he was a chef for multiple places down in Muskegon area, and we're just so lucky that he's excited to cook an elegant meal for us each year. And this year, his old sous chef and his team are coming because we're hoping to have a larger crowd. And so it's going to be really good food.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you need volunteers for that. Is that for like servers? Is that for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So setup, decorations, those things, clean up. But servers, we're wanting it to be that elegant evening feel. Love for Wines will be bringing wine. We'll have some beer and other drinks available as well. So we're doing it at the Ludington Area Center for the Arts this year. So we're going to kind of transform that into a really neat space for.
No, and that's a good, and again, Rotary used to have their meetings in there. It's a nice space to be able to use. So
yeah, we're so lucky.
Have that. Oh, that's going to be great. Okay, so that was June 6th?
Yeah.
June 6th. So good. So, and we have to get in contact with you to get the invitation back. So,
just let me know so we can put in space for you.
Yeah, I'll be, after I talk to the redhead, I'll be sending you a note. So sounds good. And then you mentioned, again, the Harvest Festival. I just want to go back to that as well, too. So you said that's an obviously fall time frame.
Right.
That you said it was just games going on. So is that family focused, or what is that?
Yeah, that kind of started a little before we became a nonprofit, mostly because my family, we have the bed and breakfast, and in 2020, we wanted to do something for our kids and for the community. So we set up an outdoor, COVID-friendly event where you could throw eggs at the Target or whatever. So we came up with some cool games then, and it's just taken off and grown. We had the Wiener Wagon there last year. A lot of different foods, and Love for Wines was there as well. Just to bring people together, get outside, have some things to do. It's a Friday evening event. So.
Oh, that sounds great. No, again, I remember, like I was telling you, I remember seeing that last year, and I'm like, what could this be? I had work. I couldn't make it work. But I was like, all right, now that I got you, I got a better idea what that is. So, so with that, any So if people wanted to be able to, get involved, is everything on the website that they want to go to? Or
So on the website, you'll find a form that says communicate with me, and that's a good way to get a conversation started, where you say that, hey, I wouldn't mind driving people to appointments, or I wouldn't mind helping out with these events that you have each year. And then there's also a spot to give, and we do encourage people to decide if they could give monthly, to set that up as an auto payment, and that helps us with all of our budgeting for the year to decide how much of the community is behind us and saying, I'm going to give $30 a month and it's going to be on auto pay. Then we can depend on that, and I can, hire more staff and do the things we need to do for our clients.
No, for sure. I tell you, that's one of the greatest things that I've seen, where they do the monthly donations to be able to do that. I have a bunch that I take care of on that, and you're getting added to the list after this show. Because it just makes you remove so much friction. It's gone. But then that also allows the individual to budget for it too, saying, "Hey, here's where I want my priorities at." So, so that you mentioned as far as your team that you have, you said your sister helps out.
Yep, she's been one of my people since I want to say 4 years ago. Been consistent, and then I have people that work more hands-on as a home help aid capacity. That's due to some grant money that we got from the Mason County Community Foundation this January. And so there's just new things all the time. But and then I have an office assistant that I have 24 hours a week. I'd love to have her 40, but that is just such a go-to as far as I'm driving. And now I found out I need to file this and that and get this scanned and sent. I can call her and she gets all that done.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So,
so in our last couple minutes here, let's say there's family members out here that they have someone that they're running into this situation where they're not capable, and they just know they're not capable to. How do they go about even bringing that up to get it basically on your radar?
Yeah, so we're not super involved in that side of it, but the truth is, if you have a loved one that might be in need of a guardian, I can give advice on how they could become a guardian, because that is ideal. But if maybe it's just a neighbor or someone that they see is truly in trouble, I can certainly give some advice, not legal advice,
no, of course not.
But how to, if that person is potentially in need of a guardian.
So who would be the starting point, I guess, if it's not you think you'd point?
Probably Adult Protective Services, community mental health, those kind of places, and then it all has to go through the probate court.
Yeah, let's go through probate, and then eventually lands at you. So with that, it's just one thing, because we do have, in the community here, there's that's one thing I will say with the community here at large, is that there's a lot of gutting it out here, and people with necessarily the pride piece. But that isn't always the case. There's folks there to help. You just need to be able to ask for that help.
Yeah. And one of the things, as I get to more opportunities to speak places, is I'm really hoping to encourage other people to start things like adult foster care homes and home help services and those kind of things that we would partner with. So all the time I'm trying to find placement for my people and where they can live, and there just isn't enough placement. So I can't be both ends of that. I'm hoping and praying that other people will get that on their heart to do, and then for sure I would love to talk through that and how I'd love to be a resource for that.
Well, that's great. And so again, getting ready to wrap up here. So again, Lena, I appreciate everything that you do, and you do one of those jobs, and the way that you serve this community is in a way that it's one of those unique spots that it serves the greater culture at large. Make sure that we don't leave anybody behind, but also your impact on individuals is fantastic.
Thank
so we are definitely a much better community for having you here. So we appreciate you very much. Again, that's about all the time we have for today. Again, thank you so much for coming, and this has been really great.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Now, for those of you who aren't following Summit Business Guides on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you are missing out on a lot of information I share with my clients. I'm easy to find. Just search for Summit Business Guides and click that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Also, be sure to connect with me personally on LinkedIn. And if you'd like to connect for a deeper conversation about how I might be able to help you, send me a note at ryan@summitbusinessguides.com. Now, I'm always looking for new leaders to have on this program and give them an opportunity to share their stories. If you know a leader making an impact, go to summitbusinessguides.com/leadingwestmichigan and submit their name for consideration. Next week, Lynn Russell, the Executive Director for United Way of Mason County, joins me to discuss her journey to becoming a West Michigan leader.
You've been listening to Leading West Michigan with Ryan Howe, a weekly program where you hear success stories of local officials and business leaders. Join us next week for more of Leading West Michigan right here on 102.7 WMOM.